Hello, good afternoon, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Autodesk webinars, 7 March 2018. I hope everyone can hear me clearly and see my slide. Okay, first let me introduce myself. My name is Rifan, and I'll be for today's webinars. And today I'll be accompanied with my colleagues, Yukwa Cheng, who will help me to answer some of the questions during our presentations today. So as usual, if you have any questions during our presentations, feel free to drop that questions in the questions box here in the webinars windows, and you don't have to wait until the end of these presentations. So either myself or Yukwa will answer your questions. And if your questions require more discussions in the future, you can actually raise a support request with us as well. All right. So if you missed our previous webinar sessions, you can find the recording in our YouTube under Build Your Up and Ready Knowledge playlist. And for today's webinar, we'll be covering the topic of Autodesk Network License Manager setup for Mac operating system. So we'll be sharing the knowledge on network license overviews and what types of license server models that we have, and together with the license setup for Macs as well. So we'll actually show you how you can create network license manager in your Mac machines. Okay, and I've provided these slides in this URL, so you feel free to grab this for your future reference. All right, we'll start. There'll be three types of network license server models. First thing is single license server. Second will be distributed license server, and last one will be redundant license server models. So each server models has its own advantages and disadvantages. So we'll cover this in the next few slides. Okay, we'll start with a single server license model. This is the most basic configurations available, and the network license manager is installed only on one server. So which means all the license management and activity is restricted to this one single location. So a single license file will represent a total number of licenses available on the server. Okay, so the advantages of this server model is all the license managements only takes one server. So there will be just one point of administrations and one point of failure. Okay, and the disadvantage of this is if this single license server fail, all of the Autodesk products cannot be run from this server until the server is up and running again. So next, in distributed license server models, your software license are divided across more than one server. So each server contains a Unix license file representing a portion of your total numbers of licenses. The network license managers is installed on each server, so all the license activity and management is distributed among the number of servers that you have. Okay, the advantages of this is servers can be distributed across wide area networks and do not need to exist on the same subnet. So if one server in distributed server pools fails, the license on the remaining server are still available. So if you need to replace a server in the distributed server pool, you don't need to rebuild the entire server models. So server replacement is easier than in redundant server type. So where you must activate the entire pool for redundant server. So the disadvantage of this license server models, if a server in the distributed server pool fails, the license on that server is unavailable. So just like a single user's server models, but you have many of them. So this model can require more time for setup and maintenance compared to other models. All right, next will be redundant license server model. So all of our software licenses are configured on 3 different servers. Each server contains the same license file. So all of your software licenses are available on each server. So the network license manager is installed on each server, and you can monitor the issue license as long as the 2 from your 3 server are functional. So in the redundant license server model, all of the 3 server must be located on the same subnet. So you have to take note of that and have a consistent network communications between them. So the advantages of this server, if one of the 3 server fails, all the licenses that are managed in the server pool are still available. However, the disadvantage is if it is more than one, then all of your license will not be available. So all the 3 servers must reside on the same subnet, and we need to have a reliable network connections. Okay, so yep, and if one of the 3 server are replaced, the complete redundant server must be rebuilt. So that means that you need to regenerate your license file and recreate it again. So all the setup, as compared to distributed license server model, I think redundant will be much more maintenance needs to be done there. All right, so we'll be moving to next slide. So here are some of the best practices to get you up and running in network license setup. So first thing, obviously you need to download and install our network license managers, the latest versions, and getting your server information ready for the network license file, such as server host name, server MAC address, and lastly the serial numbers of your multi-user license for our reference. Just in case if you need our help to generate for you, we need that information. Okay, next, configuring your network license managers, including what kind of ports needs to be open for the network license setup. Okay, lastly, for this Mac, we'll add this topic, configuring the auto start for network license manager in Mac. Okay, why we have to do this is because unlike Windows, Mac doesn't have LM Tools console. So every time you restart your Mac, you might have to restart your license services again. So first step is to download and install your network license managers into the machines. You can follow this link. You'll be able to download for Mac. Okay. And it is advised by Autodesk it's best for you to have the latest network license managers. And currently we are under these versions 11.13.1.2. So that will be the latest one that we have. So this is to avoid any additional issue in the futures for your latest product versions such as 2017 and 18 version. So you can follow the link provided here. And please do take note, if you're not familiar with Mac or Linux command, we would suggest you to stick with Windows operating system instead as your server base. Okay. So, and if you're familiar with the setting up network license manager before, you will understand why Windows is a lot easier compared to Mac and Linux. Because for Mac and Linux, you must put some comments to allow the tools to read your license file. So it's a little bit manual configurations needs to be done there. All right. So after downloading and installing your network license managers, you need to get your network license file now. Okay, and how can you get your MAC address, host name through a Mac terminal? So here's how you can find the server host name in Mac. Okay, you can open your Mac terminal and change your directory to this default directory after installing, and you can check your MAC address by running this command. Please do take note there are many ways you can actually get your host name and MAC address, but this is the things that we can provide for you based on our knowledge. Okay, and for your machine host name, Here's the command here, lmut host id hostname, or you can just simply type hostname as well. Just press enter. You should be able to see the hostname there. Okay, so once you have gotten the hostname and MAC address, you can keep your terminal open for the server configurations later. And you can log into your Autodesk account from a contract managers and generate your license file based on these informations. So if you're having issues with generating that network license file from your account, you can always forward us the same information to Autodesk support, and we can get our registration and activation team to help you instead. All right. Next, once you have gotten your network license file, you can copy the file to the following locations. Okay, and these are the directory that we use for our license network license managers. Okay, and once you have copied the license file into the right directory, you can go back to your terminal windows again, and you can start the license services by executing this command. So on these portions, license name.lic, you need to change based on your license name. So in this case, if I use AutoCAD 2018, I need to rename this to AutoCAD 2018 here with the space. All right. So once that's done, there will be some process going on in the background. Once it stops processing, please make sure you're reading these messages indicated it's up and running. So it's using the right port, and the build is correct as well, 1113, like I mentioned earlier. Okay, and once that's done, you can double check again, make sure all the licenses is available for everyone. So you can execute this command. Okay, same thing, license name you can change to AutoCAD space 2018, and you'll be able to see the license. Okay, if you are seeing this window saying that how many license you have and it's up and running, then you should be able good to go, and you can activate the software. All right. So once everything is up and running, you have make sure your first configurations for network license manager doesn't have any issues. Now we can proceed with the auto start configurations. So meaning that after you restart a machines, you can actually get your network license managers to run automatically for you. Okay. And do take note, there are many ways as well. You can do a scripting if you know how to do it in this Mac, but we'll just show you the common way that we have been advising our customer on how to use it. Okay, first you have to create a Mac profile to initiate this auto starts. Okay, and you can open a text edit. Just make sure that you have set it to plain text format. Okay, and once it's done, you can copy this content over here and save it as profile.txt as per normal. Okay, you don't have to modify anything inside this command. So you can just copy and paste, put it inside. All right, next. So you can go back to your terminal again once that's done. And you can copy the profile text earlier into your home directory. Okay, and you can use terminal windows again to navigate to your home directory by executing this command cd $home. Okay, and you can convert your profile.txt earlier to .profile extension instead by executing this command. So this is just to convert the one that you created earlier and put it to .profile extension. Okay, so once the profile the profile has been converted, just make sure that you execute this command again, ls.-la, just to make sure that it has been converted correctly. Because as you can see previously, it was under this extensions, profile.txt. So once you're converted, it should be displaying this way, .profile. Alright, so once that's set up, you can go to your system preferences under user and groups. Okay, and you can add Mac terminal utility in the logins item. This is just to add, if you know Windows, it's just like your startup items. So you need to add this in order for the terminal to start automatically later for you. Okay, once everything is set up, last step will be creating the new directory for this auto start process. So you can open your terminal again, execute this command, these 4 commands. So we are going to create a new directory for licenses auto starts. So you can create user local flex lm, and another folder will be licenses. Okay, once those two are done, you can navigate to that directory and just give full permissions to this directory. Okay, once that's done, you can copy all of the contents that is located in this folder, which is the default locations for our network license manager earlier, to this new one. Okay, so once it's copied over, you can execute this command. Same thing, license file name, you need to change as well based on the license file name that you have. So in this case, earlier would be AutoCAD space 2018. Okay, once that's done, you can restart your machines, and this terminal windows will actually show up after your first successful login into your Mac. Okay, the windows will appear, and you should be able to see the same message when you start your license services previously. Okay, it used the right port. Okay, so all right, this will be the end of our network license managers configurations for Mac. As you can see, as compared to Windows platform, Mac might require more efforts to configure the license server. Okay, and the reason because is Mac doesn't have that user interface as friendly as LM tools in Windows. Okay, this applies to the network license manager setup in Linux as well. So it's just a suggestions. If you're not sure how to do these steps, we will encourage you to stick with Windows platform instead. And the reason is because you might end up spending more time trying to fix this error in Mac environment sometimes. So if you think it's more feasible to do it under Windows, feel free to use it under Windows, because we have LM tools, which is a lot easier in the configurations wise. All right, and if you have any questions, feel free to drop the questions in our question box. And let's say if you have any issues during the configuration itself, feel free to go to our website knowledge.autodesk.com, find out the resolutions there. And if you can't find it, feel free to raise a support request to us as well. So our support team will actually help you in terms of installations or configuration, or find out what happened to your issues actually. All right, Q&A sessions. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know.